Hey guys, how's it going? It's Righthandman here. I'm going to do a very quick solo of the Vision of Bahamut trial, so that way you guys can see how I complete it with the character that I provide. Now, for this trial, I am using the new Dragoon Roberta with Odin Esper for the Dragon Killer and Neutral Resist. The equipment is two of her TMRs along with Survivor Helm, which gives us a little bit of resist and spirit, Force Armor, which gives us yet again a little bit of resist and spirit, along with an Arsh's Talisman for HP and spirit and a little bit of defense, and Genji Glove, so that way we can use our abilities without having to equip a dual wield over here. Now, most of these can be somewhat switched out. However, at least one seal of protection is needed for the buff to spirit. And so is one Melody of Life for the buff to her resistances, or she will not be able to survive the attacks by Bahamut. Now, for the other two, I decided to go ahead and use another seal of protection to give us a little bit more spirit, and I've swapped this fourth one out. I was using a third seal of protection for a little bit there. However, I think it's easily doable with the wisdom, and it gives you a little bit more attack. So without further ado, let's go ahead and go into the trial. You can bring hide units, guys, and you can use the hide units with your items to be able to revive an elixir Roberta. However, it's not actually needed. It can save you in case the fight bugs, and this trial does have quite a lot of bugs. But let me go ahead and show you guys how I've managed to successfully clear it multiple times. So the fight starts with a preemptive attack by Shadow Bahamut, and he is preparing his Mega Flare, so we want to make sure we defend on Roberta, so that way she will survive this turn, and then we can start our repeat of this Lance ability. Lance is a 1.1 or 110% modifier attack that drains HP and mana. As you guys can see, with all the Dragon Killers, it will always heal her to full, and along with their passive MP gain, you always will gain back more mana than you spend, so you don't have to worry too much about losing. Now, right here, as you guys can see, this is a good example of a turn you can take a risk on. So I'm at 3,900 health. Chances are he will do about 3,500 damage in the next turn. It's a very small chance that it'll do that much or more. So what you can do to try and build Esper Gauge is actually just auto attack with her. It'll give you a little bit higher chance of getting a few extra Esper crystals, and then even though you're going to be brought down to extremely low levels, Lance will still bring you back. And you guys saw that I got the extra Esper crystal. This will help you with finishing the fight with the Esper, Odin from my character, or from one of the hide units that you can possibly bring. So the first half of the fight, actually the first 60% of the fight, is really just a repeat of Lance and making sure that if you do a different attack other than Lance, that you're not taking too great of a risk, because Bahamut can kill you early, and it's not worth dying over missing out on the achievement. Now, with all the Dragon Killers that my Roberta has, she's at the cap of 300%, along with the most attack and, spirit and defense that you can put on her. And this pretty much allows her to live through almost anything. And so, she does quite a bit of damage. The trial itself does not take that long, even if you're just casting Lance. You can make it go a bit faster if you use her attack buff move instead of auto attacking. However, by killing it faster, you're risking the chance that you won't be able to summon the Esper. So I definitely suggest that you just click repeat. I actually have a repeat macro set up, and you can just let that run if you use an emulator and know how to just click repeat to make a macro. And you can just let that run until he hits the 40% threshold. And I would actually stop it at the 50% threshold, because you want to make sure that you don't hit the 40% threshold and end up using Lance. This fight does have a lot of bugs. And so because of that, there is always a chance that you might end up failing simply because of pure RNG. I've heard stories of Bahamut constantly prepping for Mega Flare and never seeming to cast it, and then randomly casting it. I've heard of him delaying his Mega Flare. I've heard everything. Now, for most standard runs, you shouldn't run into that, and you might actually even get lucky and have a bug work in your favor. If you bring him to the 40% threshold on either your 3rd, 5th, or 8th turn in rotation from the start of the fight, he will actually bug out and never end up using Mega Flare. And you know the 50% threshold is there because he casts Maelstrom, which is a 99% HP attack. And the beauty of that attack is that is the only attack he does, so you don't actually need to use Lance if you know you're going over that threshold. You can actually use something else that will build up a bit more of your Esper bar, or you can actually use an attack that will push him over and give you, you can use her Mystic Thrust, which will, you know, make this much quicker, or you can use her attack buff. Now, what I suggest is just using Mystic Thrust when you know you're close. So he should actually be right at 50% with this Lance. And my next turn, I don't need to heal because he does a 99% attack and it cannot kill me from any health. So I know I can push him over it with a Mystic Thrust. So we'll go ahead and use Mystic Thrust, and as you guys can see, I'm almost at the 40%, and he uses Maelstrom, does not kill me. I can actually use Lance this turn, and it'll put him right at the 40% threshold. So now we're very close to the 40%, and you guys can see it's not until you pass that 50% threshold that he starts to use poison. And I know in the written guide that I said you should use jump to go over 40%. You don't actually need to do that. So as you guys can see, he's attacking with this, the massive beam of light. However, just to make sure, we will go ahead and recovery jump to show you guys that you can live through this even with it. So he cast a massive beam of light again, and now he's going to just go into his regular rotation. Poison Breath, Earthshaker, and this is going to be the turn that you want to Lance. So I'm nowhere really close to dying. We Lance it back up. We get hit by poison, but he heals up. And then I can Lance again because it's still not a turn that ends up with the prepping for Maelstrom. So I think I ended up bugging it out. No, I didn't. So we have another incoming light. And yet again, he only does 3 other attacks with that. So recovery jump should always get you enough health to where you won't die from the next turn. It's very, very unlikely that he can manage to do 6k health from 4 attacks. So you just constantly switch back from Lance to recovery jump and vice versa. You just need to pay attention to what attacks he uses. So massive beam of light yet again. We know we need to recovery jump. And you'll know based on how much health you have which he used, because you take way less damage during the turn he preps for the Mega Flare, and you take way more damage on the turn he doesn't cast it. So if you're low on health, you know you can Lance. If you are, you know, halfway on health or 2/3 on health like I am now, you know that you will just recovery jump simply because of the amount of damage done from the amount of attacks he does. So we get hit with 4 attacks here. We're going to end up low on health, and this is our Lance turn. So as you guys can see, you just flip back and forth. It's actually fairly simple, so I thought. And this can be done whether or not he's bugged or not. So this is a good strategy to use if you're not entirely sure and you don't want to take a chance. This is the strategy you want to use. So I'm at you know, over 4K, I know I need to use recovery jump. I didn't actually even pay attention to whether it was a turn to jump. However, you know, I know what health I was at, and I know I can do it. So I know I'm low on health, I use Lance. So this is just all you need to do to go back and forth and hope that you build up enough Esper gauge. And that's pretty much it, guys. Now, I got lucky this time. I did manage to get the Esper bar full, so I will show you guys where to bring him down to be able to kill him. And hopefully you guys can do the same. I think I'm going to adjust the build slightly though to make poison less of a problem for you guys. I don't think you actually need all of the attack. I think you can kind of live without. But we'll find out. So this is where you guys got to start kind of paying attention to what you do. So what I would suggest you do is you do another recovery jump to get through the Maelstrom, or sorry, Mega Flare turn. And then you can see where his health is. And rather than attacking this turn, all you need to do is use an elixir on yourself. And next turn he will be charging his massive beam of light again. You live through this, and all you need to do is jump one more time. Recovery jump one more time. And as you guys can see, it brought him down to a decent amount. And this is where we're going to Esper. This is, you want at least this much or less HP. It's going to come down very, very close. And in fact, what I think, I take that back. What you guys are going to want to do is, since you know this is another turn where you would normally Lance, go ahead and use an elixir again. I think we can jump one time without killing him, just to play on the safe side. Recovery jump does the least damage out of all his abilities, since it doesn't take into effect killers. And yeah, as you guys can see, we left him with pretty much no health. So this will be the turn. We definitely use our Esper and we kill him. Now, if you have hide units, you can definitely use them to analyze the boss. And that's how we kill it with all achievements. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you haven't already, please follow me on my Twitch. Righthandman90 is my name tag. You can also follow me on YouTube and Twitter. And thumbs up if you like the video, and leave a comment. I'll catch you guys later, and see you next time.